Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Backlog Monologue. It's been a bit since I made the last episode back in July. If you have no idea what Backlog Monologue is, it's basically my excuse to play games in my backlog without feeling guilty about playing things that aren't going towards videos. So I talk about them in this rambly podcast style video. I will be bringing up things that could be considered spoilers for these games, so all of the games that I will be talking about will be listed with timestamps in the description below, so you could jump past them if you don't want to be spoiled on one. I want to note that the gameplay on screen usually isn't relevant to what I'm talking about. The goal with these videos are supposed to be easy to make for me so I could get them out and have uploads for people to listen to, and it services as a podcast, so you don't have to watch it, you could just have it on the side and listen to me talk. Also in these videos, before I start talking about the games, I do a little rambling about what has gone into the channel recently and thought processes on making videos, kind of like a behind the scenes stuff. So in the previous episode, I was talking a lot about being burnt out and wanting a break and just overall not being very happy. I did end up taking a break for about a month, which is why the Yakuza retrospective came out in I believe July, when the video was basically done for an entire month. I just needed to do the music, but I was just so burnt out and stressed out just from, personal life stuff that I'm not going to get into, that I just needed to stop, and I just relaxed, and I finished a bunch of games, which I ended up talking about in that video, like SMT4's Neutral Route, and after that break and the amazing reception to the Yakuza 1 video, I felt re-energized. So I wanted to do some experimenting and pushing myself. I really wanted to try to have a brief period of consistent uploading. For the people who do follow me on Twitter, you probably saw my going even further beyond joke. That's kind of how this whole idea started, because I thought, this would be pretty funny to tweet about. So I based it all around that, and there was a bunch of videos that I've just been putting off forever, so I thought, hey, these would be short and rather easy to make, along with getting all of the Hitman stuff done side by side with it, that I could get this all done and get these all out and then release them simultaneously. It was definitely a lot of work. It took me like 2 months to get all of the videos done and ready, because what I did first is I played all the games, I played one game at a time, and then I wrote about it, and then I went to the next game. And then once I had all of them written, I would then voice them one at a time and edit them. I decided, because I really didn't want to do the Absolution video, I was going to save it for last, and that was a big mistake in itself, because the whole 8 video project ended up taking so long, and I saved Absolution for last. I was like, well, I have to start putting out videos, but Absolution is the second of the 4 Hitman videos, so I have to upload Blood Money, and then I have to get Absolution done before I could upload 2016 and Hitman 2, which were also already finished. So I had to pull like a few all-nighters to get the Absolution video done on time, and crunched it out in like 2 days. It was really unhealthy, and I was really sick after it. I just had to like rest for a single full day. I just like slept for 13 hours after that. That was like just not healthy. I had to do something similar for the Destroy All Humans video just because I was not done with it either, and that kind of sucked, but what are you gonna do? I ended up getting them all done and out on time. I'm overall happy with the reception. Everybody was happy with the fact that I was uploading consistently. Some of the videos underperformed, and overall they're all starting out kind of slow, but over time, my videos always do get a decent amount of views. My channel is never really the type to get a shit ton of views early. It's always in the long run. Like the Sly Cooper video did not get a lot of views right away, but now I want to say it's sitting at like over 200,000 views, so I'm happy with the outcome of that. It just stings a little bit at first when, I'm just like, hey, I put out a video and it's been 2 weeks, and it's like, oh, it's not even at 13,000 views yet. It's frustrating and annoying at times, but it's part of the job, and I get over it within a few days. If I could do something different though, I think I would have had it only be 1 upload a week, just so I could have consistent uploads for a longer period, because now I am out of videos. I have gone through them all. I had 2 uploads a week for the entire month of October, which was cool, but now I have nothing. And now that I'm going to be doing the Yakuza 2 retrospective soon, after I finish the Fatal Frame video, which we'll get into that in a second, it's probably going to be a content drought again. I have some ideas for short games that I do want to cover in like a thoughts on kind of manner, so I guess I'll rattle those off. I don't want to make any promises, which I'll get into why I don't want to make video promises anymore, and I keep doing it, even though I've for a while known that I shouldn't. But the short games that I thought would be interesting or cool to talk about would be like El Shaddai, Wonderful 101 Carrion Remaster, the Doom Eternal DLC, Metal Wolf Chaos, Bayo 2, Control, and the Samurai Jack game. Some others I thought might be interesting if they're not too long, and if I like playing them, is like Amnesia Rebirth and Pumpkin Jack. I don't know if many people know about that game. It just came out. I have not played it yet, but I want to because it looked really charming. Maybe I do a single video on Streets of Kamurocho, or maybe if it's short, I'll include it later in this video because, yeah, just how I format these. I know this section is kind of all over the place, but the whole reason I had to start uploading the videos in October and not wait till I was all done with them was because if you follow me on Twitter, I mentioned that YouTube was kind of fucking me over in September. So I'm partnered with an MCN. They usually just help me deal with copyright issues and help me get like promotional sponsor stuff or help me get a review copy if I really wanted it, which I've tried, but most of the times I got a resounding no. Like when I asked for DMC5 and the Capcom didn't give me a code. Hey Capcom, I would have, I would have sucked that game's dick with or without the code, and I did anyway, but you could have let me play it a little early. Either way, YouTube made this new rule that if the MCN has no control over your channel, which they do not, I would go from being in the managed category to the affiliate category. So when they did this, all my analytics for revenue were just completely erased, which, sucked, but whatever. I downloaded them, or I downloaded as much as I could, but there's like a delay for how much you get to see on YouTube, so I'm missing a few days, but I'll still get paid for that, so whatever. The issue came in was after the switch, my channel was demonetized. Yeah, I don't know why, they don't know why, they could never figure out why, but yeah, so it was demonetized, and that took a few days to fix, so that was just like 2 to 3 days of just not getting paid, that sucks, but whatever, not the end of the world. That's like only $100-something out of the window, whatever. But then the issue came in that, oh, hey, all my videos have been remonetized. The little green dollar sign is on all the videos. There's no issues. And then, yeah, whatever. Everything should be back to normal. But then I got I looked at my analytics and I checked how much I was making each day. And I saw that I made $4 on a single day and went, yeah, that's not right. The only video in actuality that was still properly monetized and making me money was the Yakuza retrospective, aka my latest upload. And I messaged my channel manager guy and I was like, hey, something's up. And he was like, that's weird. That shouldn't be like that. We'll have to wait to see more analytics. So I had to wait longer, and that sucked some more. All the videos appeared normal, like I could go into the YouTube editor, see all the placements of ads, and all the videos say they're monetized, but people weren't seeing ads. I had a bunch of friends from all around the world go on like incognito mode and watch my YouTube videos just to see if they could see the little ads show up for them, and none of them did. And then I also started getting fake copyright claims. So the first one was a company claiming they owned Bakamitari, so my Yakuza videos, thankfully not my retrospective video, that one was not claimed. It was the old So You Want to Get Into video claimed because the outro of that video was me playing Yakuza 0's karaoke. I really didn't want to go through the stupid copyright claim dispute system that YouTube has because it takes up to 30 days for the dispute to be dealt with. And of course, companies just wait the 30 days because they have nothing to lose from abusing the system. So of course, I tried messaging people like my manager, and I went to the YouTube support channel thing that you could go if you are like a YouTuber with X amount of views, and you complain to them on Twitter and they'll be like, go to this link and you'll talk to somebody. So I entered the queue. Luckily the queue wasn't that long, and I typed up this huge fucking essay, and I was then connected to somebody, and then I sent the message, and within 30 seconds, we were not even connected long enough for him to read it. He goes, okay, thank you. Thank you for contacting YouTube, and ended the chat. And at this point, I was fucking fuming. The spirit of Carrion possessed my body, and I immediately then re-entered the queue, got added to another chat with a different person. Who knows if these people are real? I don't even know. I added a very firmly worded addendum and then just copy and pasted what I wrote. So then that opened a support ticket, and a million back and forth emails later, 18 days had passed and it was finally fixed. I'm kind of glossing over things just because it's been over a month at this point at the time of recording, and I'm pretty much over it. If this was a month ago and I made this, I would have been fuming, and this would have been hilariously edited like I considered doing. Either way, I had that fake copyright claim, which you could have looked up in an instant and see that it was bogus because the company that was claiming it was this fake website having Russian/French company called Believe Music, Tuna Tepin Musica, and they were claiming that Kazuma Kiryu was the owner of the song. Yeah, you know, Kazuma Kiryu, the fictional character that doesn't fucking exist. And I kept messaging YouTube, and I kept going, please, it takes you 2 seconds to Google to see that Sega owns this song and it was composed by Mitsuharu Fukuyama. But then YouTube just kept replying with, there is nothing that they can do, which was making me even more angry because YouTube doesn't want to get their hands dirty and get involved with copyright issues because they don't want to be liable, which I understand. They don't want to cause any big stinks and be brought into court for copyright issues because copyright laws are turbo fucked and big companies like Disney and UMG and others just completely abuse the system and lobby to keep these laws as fucked and as unclear as they are because everybody who is lawmakers that they are lobbying for are almost 100 years old and don't understand copyright or the internet or any of this shit. While all of this was happening, I started getting even more copyright claims on videos for disputes that I had already won about 2 years ago when I first joined my MCN. So I guess because of this filing change on YouTube's backend that I don't even see or anything was affecting this. And then worst of all, I got a copyright claim from myself. I don't know how this happened. It's obviously some automated fuck up somewhere because I haven't even filed and filled out all the bullshit that you have to do on YouTube's backend to be able to send out copyright claims. Frankly, because I don't give a shit. If you want to use my footage or clips from my videos, go right ahead. You're more than welcome to. You don't even have to credit me. I don't care. If it helps make your videos better, I am more than happy to just allow you to use them. I went into my YouTube email and I had 2 emails for both ends of this copyright dispute. One saying that I submitted one and another saying I got the copyright claim. So again, I had to open up another support ticket with YouTube and it was just more back and forth. And because of this, they were like, well, since you have 2 tickets open, we're going to merge these tickets. And then I didn't even realize it until after everything because they just stopped messaging me was at the end of both of the support ticket email chains. Both of them said to refer to the other person if I had any questions because they'll be taking care of it. So obviously nobody was dealing with my problem. So I was just stuck twiddling my fucking thumbs and the copyright claim was on the original Everything Wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh, the shitty video that I fucking hate, but it's the thing that keeps this channel kind of flowing on the back end because it just keeps generating more money over time because it's at like 4 million something views. I don't know why it does. The video's terrible. I hate it. And then YouTube had the fucking gall to email me saying it looks like the system dealt with it itself. Gee, thanks. I'm really glad that this shitty YouTube automated system dealt with the copyright claim because I was unable to respond to it on either end. So after 30 days, it went away. I'm really glad I just lost 30 days of revenue because of that. Because normally when you have a dispute, the money will go to the person submitting the claim and then whoever ends up winning the claim will get the money in the end. For this, the video was just completely demonetized. So for 30 days, I got nothing. And on top of that, I didn't get paid for 18 days normally over my entire channel, which I was still getting regular amounts of views, so I lost like almost $1,000. So the month of September was one of the most stressful months of my entire life, just because I wasn't getting paid, I was sending back so many emails and people were not responding to me, and just I was dealing with overall extreme amounts of incompetence because nobody gave a shit. Now, after saying that, I do not want people to be feeling bad for me and going to donating to my Patreon or whatever. I am fine. I know we're like 10 minutes into a rant, but this was why I had to start releasing all these videos in October before they were all finished, because I just could not afford to lose all of this money and just be behind. I kept in the email saying, you know, $1,000 is not fucking chump change to me. That's almost an entire paycheck. I lost 18 days. That's over half a month's paycheck from YouTube. Gone. Please stop being fucking incompetent and fix the issue. Again, I do not want people to feel bad for me. I am not doing this to get a cry for help or ask for money or want you to donate to my Patreon. Unless you really like the channel, do not do it. Do not do it because you feel bad for me because I just said I lost money. That is YouTube's fault. It is on YouTube. I am very mad at them. Fuck YouTube. I asked them, I was like, are you gonna compensate me for your fuck up and your complete dropping the ball of this situation? And they're like, well, because your videos weren't monetized and no ads were playing, there was no money being made. The multi-billion-dollar company that is Google and YouTube absolutely had the money to pay me. They also have every single statistic they would need to see how much money I would have made. I still had access to every single piece of analytical data they needed if they wanted to calculate how much I would have been paid. I could still see all of my views, all of my watch time, all of my engagement, every single number was still there and never went away. I still have access to all the data from years ago, but there's nothing in it for YouTube to gain from paying me, so they could easily just tell me no, and that there's nothing to do because I'm not a big celebrity or a big channel, so they don't give a shit if I make a stink about it. This is why every content creator says to not rely solely on YouTube, diversify your content, and why everybody is taking ads right now, why I took the Raid Shadow Legends ad back in March. YouTube is unreliable, and they don't give a shit about the people that actually make the money on their platform and keep it afloat, and why YouTube is the empire that it is today. They only care about the big businesses involved, and if news companies and the general public starts getting mad at them, or if a content creator is one of the biggest on the platform and they make a stink and have a huge following, and then everybody starts getting mad at them, which is basically the same thing when the general public gets mad at them. Thankfully, I had money saved if and when a situation like this would happen. So please, do not feel the need to donate to me, and do not see this as e-begging. Okay, I ended up actually getting it probably as worked up as I would have been if I made this video a month ago. So back to talking about other videos. I don't even remember at this point if I mentioned Fatal Frame and what's going on with that video. So part of me with this whole big video project was stupidly thinking that I could get all this done in a reasonable time without giving up my entire life and not talking to anybody else and just working on videos from start to finish, noon to night. And at first, at one point at the beginning of October, and I realized, oh wait, it's October. Halloween is in October. I should probably do a Halloween video. I stupidly messaged a friend. I was like, I'm gonna do Fatal Frame and Silent Hill and have them be out like a full series review on both of them. And then I realized, wait, that's fucking stupid. And that's literally impossible to do, because I also still had to get the other videos, like I mentioned earlier, done. So right now, at the time of recording this part of the video, the Backlog Monologue, it's the 27th, and I've pushed back the Fatal Frame video just because I just wouldn't get it done in time. Maybe I could have finished 4 and 5 and write both of those sections and voice the whole video and edit it so it would be up in time to go on Patreon on the 30th, to be live on the 31st on Halloween. But frankly, I already killed myself once this month trying to get the Absolution video, technically twice, because I also did it for the Destroy All Humans 1 video, and frankly, I just don't want to do it a third time. So I'm pushing the video back like a week. Hopefully it'll be done in a week and it will just be good, because even if I could get it done, besides the unhealthy factor, I think it probably wouldn't have been good and would have been kind of rushed. This is why I should not and don't like making promises on videos publicly, because I end up a lot of the times changing my mind on what I want to work on, A, and B, projects just become bigger and bigger and balloon in size, and then it's like, oh hey, I thought this was going to be a lot shorter, and then suddenly, oh, this took like 2 months of my fucking life, or this took like 5 months of my life, or this or that. So I think that's pretty much everything with the channel that's been going on, and let's get into talking about some games. If you ended up actually listening to this part and not skipping over it just to the games, thank you. So the first game we're going to talk about is Titanfall 2. I played it back when it got added to Steam again, just because I got the itch to play it. I owned it on Origins, which is what I played it on. But instead of playing multiplayer, I actually ended up just playing more of the story again. Man, I wish we had more FPS campaigns that were on par with this in quality. It's really just a shame that if you're an FPS, you have to be a multiplayer game or a battle royale or a live service piece of shit. There's actually a lot of really good single player retro style FPSs that have come out recently, which I do eventually want to talk about. But what I want from Titanfall 3 more than anything, if and when it does happen, is I just want another campaign. I honestly don't really care about the multiplayer anymore. It's fun, it's great, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I would just really love a good campaign. Everything in this campaign from start to finish is excellent. It opens with an amazing cinematic. The setting is instantly interesting. It doesn't waste its time and gets into the good stuff. And it has a lot of varying environments. It also does a lot of unique gameplay mechanics and set pieces without feeling like super gimmicky that it would end up taking away from the experience. Instead, these all build on it and could be their own individual games if they really wanted to, like the time jumping mechanic with the wristwatch thing, where it has you jumping between 2 different time periods to fight enemies and do platforming challenges. I don't really know what else there is to say about the game that hasn't already been said by everybody else, since the game is 4 years old, I believe. Movement is really fluid and nice, guns have a nice weight to them. This is an FPS that actually has good boss fights. Even one of my favorite games this year, Doom Eternal, did not. My biggest gripe with the game is that I wish in single player the reloads were slightly faster. I guess you could consider this a recommendation, but if you're one of the few people who have not played Titanfall 2, it's now on Steam and it has crossplay with Origins, so absolutely get it if it's on sale, or hell, I think it's worth whatever it is on Steam right now. I played Carrion when it first came out, and I actually intended to make a full review of it, titled Carrion the Spaghetti Monster Simulator, but as time escaped me and I was focusing more on the 8-video project that I talked about earlier, it just got pushed back more and more to the point where I kinda don't want to make it anymore because I ended up not writing the script and I'm just going, ugh. It's been a few months since I've played it. Is it even worth writing the script and making this video? Will it get any views? I did take notes when I played the game, so I do have those, and I would just take those and formulate it into a script, but that's kind of the struggle of deciding if I wanted to put it in this or still make it its own video, because even if I did make it its own video and it didn't get that many views, I would assume it probably would get more than this video. But frankly, I kinda just want to move on and cover other things because I've been itching to talk about them a lot more, so I will just kind of relegate it to this video. So the only thing going into Carrion that I ever saw was the reveal trailer. I want to say it was at the PC game show for 2018 at E3, or maybe it was 2019? I can't really remember. It was the first ever showing of it. I saw that and went, wow, that looks really cool. And then I went kind of media blackout on it, more or less just because I didn't see anything and I didn't really have the drive to go out of my way to look for it. I was still excited for it and I still planned to pick it up when it came out, but I wasn't like, I have to consume all the trailers. I have to get really hype for the game. So I kind of created what I thought the game was going to be in my mind. I thought it was going to be a lot more fast paced, but it ended up being a lot more slow and methodical than I was expecting. Now, that's not a bad thing. I actually really liked it, but yeah, just wasn't what I was anticipating. I thought it was going to be more like a violent Katamari Damacy, where you're flying around incredibly fast, just absorbing people as you go around and killing them all, which you do at points, but more of the gameplay is akin to Metroidvania, I guess you could say. And because of the Metroidvania-like structure came my biggest complaint with the game, and it was its lack of map. By the end, the world is pretty expansive, and if you're not playing it all in one sitting, which I guess you could, I kind of forgot where some of the things were, and I was just like, I'm completely lost, and I just had to Google a fan-made map. It has been a while since I played the game, and I know it has a few updates, so hopefully they did add it, but if they haven't, I hope this is something they do eventually get around to adding. The other big issue I ran into is sometimes things are just obscured in the background by the body of the Carrion monster because it gets so big, and other things like switches and levers and buttons you have to interact with blend in with the other pixel art as like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to interact with. I had a few instances where I was stuck in a room for a bit where I went, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And then I felt really stupid. It's like, oh, it was that switch that was blending in that I didn't notice. I guess I really haven't explained what the gameplay of Carrion is. So, at the start of the game, you are a relatively small spaghetti monster thing with tendrils that shoot out and you can eat people. The pixel art and animations for the Carrion monster are fucking gorgeous, and these sound effects between the squelches and squeaking and splurges as you eat humans is all really satisfying. I do wish that eating humans got a little faster. Like I said earlier, I kind of hoped that it would have turned into like a super fast-paced Katamari Damacy murder simulator where you're just like running through hallways and just absorbing people, but it never really got like that. As you get farther through the game, you accrue more biomass and get bigger, and your health pool gets bigger, and you get new special abilities. By the end of the game, you are fucking huge, but I always felt that the most fun was the first form because you were so agile and nimble, although the later forms do have some really creative and innovative abilities, like where you can take over dead bodies with a tendril and pilot them around like a puppet and make people shoot at each other and fight each other, and then when you're done, you can in some cases teleport to said dead body and explode out of it. Thankfully, you aren't just stuck as your biggest form at any given point. You eventually get the ability to leave biomass behind in this pool of hot dog water, but I was hoping that eventually you would be able to just get the ability to shed layers at any point of the game, but that's sadly not the case, and it eventually became really out of the way to do some of the puzzles because I had to keep running back and forth between like stage 2 to 3 and then stage 1 because I needed to be all different sizes and have different abilities, which now that I say that makes me realize that I also didn't really like that as you progress to bigger and bigger stages, you lose previous abilities in those forms and you only have the current form's abilities. So I felt like that kind of narrowed down your approach to things, but the game is obviously balanced and all the puzzles are planned around having to dump your biomasses in these pools so you can swap between forms 1, 2, and 3. It's kind of hard to remember what else I wanted to say because it's been a while since I've played the game, unfortunately, because I've been so busy, and this video had to be put off so I can focus on getting other things done that would eventually get views far more than this video. I'll close off by saying that I do think the game is worth getting. Probably wait for a sale because it does kind of close off on a note. Not that it's bad, but I just wish it was longer. Spoilers for the very end of the game, so like just jump to the next section if you don't want to hear these. Get the game if you do. The game ends with you reaching the surface because the entire game has been in a laboratory, and it pans up to a city and a shooting star, and I felt like it could have just had another level where you became gigantic or you started doing stuff in the streets, and they could have expanded on it more. Maybe they'll do DLC, hopefully, or something, but yeah, get this on sale probably. So back when I played this, it was the only version available. I played the Ultrakill Demo. It has since come out in early access, but I haven't played it yet, so I am just going to be talking about the demo. Holy shit, does this game feel amazing to play right from the get-go. It has been an amazing year for character action FPSs between this and Doom Eternal, and who knows what other retro FPSs that New Blood is producing that I haven't even touched yet. Here is my hot take. Every FPS needs a Devil May Cry style meter. It only makes the game better. This game has one of the most unique abilities / weapon upgrades with the flicking of the coin that you can shoot to bounce the bullets off of and then get a headshot on enemies. Nothing is more satisfying than flicking 3 coins and hitting them and seeing them all bounce to get a sick headshot. This is actually another FPS that has really good boss fights, surprisingly. And as the opening of this game says, mankind is dead, hell is full, blood is fuel for my cock, and this game makes me erect. Buy it, it's $20, it's worth every penny. I wanted to actually play some multiplayer games with my friends recently, but there really isn't that many multiplayer games. Everything is like MMO, live service, or the dreaded League of Legends. And we all don't conveniently have 400 gigabytes of space to allow to be able to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So then Fall Guys came out. We were like, why don't we play that? That looks pretty fun. And we did play it, and I had a lot of fun for the few hours I played, I guess. It probably didn't play that much in total. Let me look at Steam. So yeah, I only played the game like 5 hours in total. And that is because it is fun. And granted, I have not played in a bit, so I do know there's a bunch of updates. I keep seeing on Twitter them mentioning new seasons and them adding new costumes, which doesn't really interest me that much. I saw the Godzilla one, and that's kind of cool. So the game is actually fun. My favorite game mode was the hexagon one, the one where you jump. My least favorite was probably the egg one where you had to have like 3 teams and you have to have like the egg baskets, just because like sometimes you just automatically lose and there's like no fucking way to win. Consistently, that game mode is like one team is just getting turbo shit on and there's just nothing they can do, and I didn't really find that fun. My second favorite was the soccer one. I was surprisingly good at that. But the reason why we didn't end up playing it that much is we discovered the issue of, yeah, not many people can play at a single time. I believed it was only 3, maybe 4 people can queue together when we played as it first came out. And we had a larger group than that, so it became really annoying and tiresome to constantly try to queue snipe each other so we could play in games together. We had about 10 people, so we were hoping that eventually they added like a private lobby or like a server hosting thing so we could have like extended friend groups join in. We could have our own like mini Fall Guys tournament. Again, I haven't kept up to date with the features they've added, so maybe they have added that and we could go back and play it. Overall, we had a bunch of fun with it, and I don't think it was a waste of money. It just kind of came out and it felt a little bare bones. Like some things I would have liked to be upgraded, some game modes I would have just liked a little bit of changes to them, and maybe some more diversity, because I felt like I was getting the same obstacle courses or same game modes over and over again. It might have just been kind of unlucky, but yeah, I would have just liked some more games. I think I saw a clip on Twitter the other day that showed a new game mode that I didn't recognize, so maybe they have added some stuff. So I definitely need to go back and play this. The big reason why we didn't put as much time into Fall Guys was because there is another multiplayer game to play with your friends and fuck around with that propped up in the meantime between making the last video and now, and that was Among Us, which perfectly had the right amount for us because you could have a total of 10 people playing, so we had constant full lobbies, or at least up to 8 people, and it was really chaotic and really fun. Part of me wishes I jumped on the Among Us video hype train just so I could get some big viewed videos recently, because holy shit, did I see some videos in my recommended that had astronomical amounts of views. That was just like 20 minutes of people playing Among Us. That's kind of crazy. My biggest recommendation if you do play this game, which of course you probably are, it's like one of the biggest fucking games in the past few months, is to set up some soundboards, because statistically I have won more games than I have lost while playing the SVU theme in the background while pleading my case of why I think someone is the killer. So a while ago, I had the urge to replay through F.E.A.R. After playing it again, it made me realize that we will never ever get a game quite like it, and it makes me incredibly sad. I eventually want to do a series review on the F.E.A.R. games. I've played them all at this point. Obviously, my favorite is the first one. The third one sucks, but it's funny to fuck around with if you have a buddy to play in co-op. I had the worst exposure to F.E.A.R., I feel like the worst first impression, because I heard everybody was talking about like how F.E.A.R. is amazing FPS and how adaptive the AI is and how cool the effects are, and I bought it back when I believe you could still buy it individually on Steam without having to have this stupid bundle thing that it has now, where you have to buy all 3 games in order to get F.E.A.R., which I guess you just have to buy it on GOG if you don't want to buy the other 2 games because they're not as good. And I believe instead of playing the main game first, I booted up the expansion, the bad one. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Perseus Mandate. Extraction Point's the okay one, if I remember correctly. And I played it for a bit and I was like, this is fucking awful. What is this? Like, this is what everybody hyped up? I just couldn't understand. And then thankfully, eventually down the line, it came up in a conversation where I was like, yeah, I played that F.E.A.R. Wasn't that good? And they're like, what? And then I mentioned I played the expansion and they're like, no, go back and play the original. This recent playthrough really made it click in my mind why I love F.E.A.R. and something that a lot of my favorite games have in common. I've probably mentioned this before, but I guess I just keep rediscovering it as I forget over time. F.E.A.R. is a game that has you always as the director of the action. What I mean by this is that you are always in full control and are able to do all of the cool things thanks to the systems of the game and how they allow for free-form combat. One part that always sticks out of my mind that even during this playthrough that I just kept reloading over and over again because I thought it was really cool and I was trying to land the perfect shot, so to say, as if I'm like an action movie director, where you're rounding the 2nd floor and you see some guys come in from the elevator, and I would throw the grenade over and I would jump over the ledge, slow down, shoot one guy on the right, and then turn off, slow down to shoot the grenade in midair, hitting the other 2 guys. Stuff like this is just so much fun. Now, when I said there will be no game ever like F.E.A.R. 1, there is a game coming out soon. I believe there is a demo of it on Steam. People have talked about it, like White Light has made a video on it. The game is called Trepang 2, terrible name, don't like it. I hope they change it to something more, you know, marketable or memorable or anything. I think that game perfectly captures the gameplay side of F.E.A.R. 1, which is a great thing. I'm excited for that game whenever it does fully come out. I haven't checked on it in a bit, so for all I know, it could be in early access. But even in the case of Trepang 2, it isn't capturing the horror aesthetic or atmosphere of the game. I will say that most of F.E.A.R. 1's horror and jump scares do fall flat, but I really do love the horror mixed with military shooter. F.E.A.R. 1 has a very specific vibe that I haven't seen anything else closely capture it, even with its sequels. F.E.A.R. 1 has probably my favorite pistol ever. It just feels really good to use. My only complaint is always that I hated that it forces you to be akimbo no matter what. You can never just get ammo from a pistol that you find on the ground. It'll force you to go into dual wielding, which I never found as satisfying. I also wish that the game consistently had you ripping people apart when you use weapons on the clones. The high you get from when you just turn someone into a meat cloud when you shoot the shotgun across the room and you see things explode around them like the death desk and the walls. It's fucking awesome. I absolutely think it was worth the environmental diversity and color diversity of the game in order to have all of these effects happening in the environment that respond to your gunfire and explosions. The only place I think the game doesn't really hold up that well is in the rundown apartment building section right by the end of the game before you get to the laboratory. I don't really know what it is about it that I didn't really like this playthrough. Maybe when I eventually get to the series review, which realistically wouldn't be that much work, so maybe I would do that sooner than I thought. I will be able to dissect and understand why I didn't like it as much as I used to. This next one I played a very short amount of. So this is very first impressions, and that was Bullets Per Minute. I played it the day it came out for about 20 minutes, and then I decided, you know, I will wait to come back to this game after a few updates. The first thing that I really disliked and kind of turned me off of the game was the aggressive filters and saturation. At times, the game looks like a deep fried meme, and I think it looks really ugly because of that, and it kind of hurts my eyes. So I thought it'd be better to wait and see if they would maybe add some settings to allow you to turn down the filtering effects or some other color things, or maybe someone would make some mods to make it less, you know, ugly, I guess. I don't want to be that harsh on the game because I really didn't play enough of it to feel like I could form a fair opinion, but yeah, I did not like how the first 20 minutes of the game looked, and I saw some forum posts on the Steam page recommending to rebind the controls, which I do need to try because I just was not gelling with them all that well. People recommended switching reload to your right mouse click, which I definitely need to try. The music was really good from what I heard though. The starting pistol just felt like shit, felt like a pea shooter, maybe just because I wasn't in enough range. People watching the gameplay now will probably be like, well, because you suck, which is fair. The game kind of just tosses you in. Maybe I missed some tutorial or something. Maybe I'll look at some wiki stuff just to see if there's any information that I should know going in. I think there has been at least one post-launch patch, so I do need to go back to it. I've just been incredibly busy, which is why this is only a very small section in the video. To fill my needs for Virgil, I reinstalled DMC4 SE, and I've just been messing around with him in Bloody Palace. This is going to piss people off, but DMC4 is my least favorite of the good games. Just as a full package, I feel it's kind of lacking, and unless you're playing at the highest level of this game, I feel like it just doesn't hold up compared to the others. I know it has inertia, I know the crazy combos, they are crazy, but if you're not able to do them, it's just like, okay, I'll watch a YouTube video on them, but either way, DMC4 SE's Virgil is still really fun, and I just hate how DMC5's Virgil we have to wait a whole month to play him for PC users because I'm not buying a PS5 at launch. I really see no point in doing so. There's like 6 launch titles, most games got delayed due to the pandemic and stuff. I am interested in Miles Morales and Demon's Souls, but not enough to spend like $600 on a console and 2 games that are both $70, I believe, which is fucking bullshit. Either way, yeah, Virgil is really fun. I've been practicing trying to just consistently land the perfect judgment cuts, or are they called just judgment cuts? I don't know, whatever people call the judgment cuts that are frame perfect, that are way faster and do more damage. The one thing that makes it really hard for me to still just go back to DMC4 after playing DMC5 is the lack of the ability to turn up camera sensitivity. There's probably a mod for it, I need to look into that. But yeah, it just feels so much stiffer camera-wise after coming back from DMC5, which has a lot of camera settings. I also really do not like any of the bosses outside of Credo from DMC4. I don't think that's that hot of a take. Big enemies in these games just suck. Because, you know, these games outside of boss fights are all about like styling and juggling enemies and doing crazy combos, so the big body monster bosses just don't really allow for that. Obviously, there are crazy things you can still do, like the Beowulf combos on, oh my god, I can't even remember what the stupid like Wolfman Son of Mundus thing is called, like Burial, I can't remember. That forgettable piece of shit. At the time of recording this, a bunch of footage for DMC5's Virgil dropped today. Instead of talking about DMC4's Virgil or DMC4, I guess I'll just talk about DMC5. Now, DMC5 was my favorite game of last year, and it was easily one of my favorite gaming experiences of recent memory. I don't think I've had such high highs of enjoyment out of a first playthrough and leading up to my first playthrough as DMC5. People always have those, if you could wipe your memory and replay a game again fresh for the first time, DMC5 is the one that instantly comes to mind now. Up until now, it has been near the original. With that being said, I have a few criticisms of what I've seen so far. Obviously, I haven't had my hands on it, so for all I know, it could be playing amazing, and it's not that bad in actual control. So some of the animations just feel really lacking compared to the DMC4 incarnations. The few that come to mind instantly are judgment cuts, the fast slashing combo, I think it's combo 3, maybe combo 4, honestly can't remember, and the summon swords rain down effect. Those are the ones that stick out in my mind. I'm like, ooh, those don't look nearly as good. The other one that has still been an issue, or was an issue with the original release of DMC5, was Million Stabs. I don't know why they made Million Stabs just so Like, DMC4's Million Stabs is fucking awesome looking, and this feels so slow by comparison. Obviously, I am still very excited to play Virgil, but this time around I'm feeling kind of more critical about the game and some of Capcom's business practices, because I get it, a lot of business stuff with next gen and securing money for the company and stuff like that, but still, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and hopefully PC will eventually get Legendary Dark Knight mode. I know I mentioned it earlier, and I did end up playing Streets of Kamurocho, and it's only because I heard that it was actually 10 minutes long, which I didn't know going in. For those who didn't know, it was a, I guess, Steam game? I don't know what the fuck you consider this, because it was for Sega's arbitrary 60th anniversary celebration thing that was 48 hours, and that was the only time you could get Streets of Kamurocho Golden Axed and a couple of other things. They changed the box arts on Steam. It's completely unavailable now, to my knowledge, on Steam. Obviously, you could download it through third-party shit like Pirate Bay and whatever. It's really weird that they made it this limited time thing. I guess with the fact that it's 10 minutes long and it feels like a proof of concept thing that they probably had some overworked developers make in like 2 weeks, like the Golden Axe one, is probably why this is just like a, oh, get it or you missed it kind of thing. I wouldn't say I am a fan and or a hater of beat 'em ups. I played Castle Crashers and loved it. It's one of my favorite games ever. I've dabbled with the Streets of Rages and other things that were on the Xbox Live Arcade through demos and stuff, but I've never really vibed with the genre. My biggest issue is always just feeling like at times you're like a pixel off of plane difference between your enemy, so you just end up swinging at nothing and hitting nothing. That's kind of the case for this as well. It's oddly a little stiff. I wish it was like slightly faster, like movements feel a little so you could play as 3 characters, Kiryu, Majima, and then you could unlock Ichiban. So you have this one street, you go down, you fight Lao, and then you enter the bar and you fight Shindo, and then it ends off where you're in the back alley and you fight Nishiki. Missed opportunity to have a For Whose Sake 8-bit remix here. That would have been fucking amazing and would have supplanted this as Forever Kino, but you know, what are you gonna do? This seems like a very, like, not slap together, because that's like a kind of insulting way to put it, but I guess a very bare bones and proof of concept or a demo. Like, I really don't know how to describe this. It's like, I guess it is all of those 3. Majima, Ichiban, and Kiryu all basically control the same. They have a few different animations. It's a neat little game for the fans. It's not gonna like sell anybody on the series, I guess. Like, I don't even know what the point of this was. I guess it's like a cool what if. I feel like I'm talking shit about this game. I feel really bad, but it's all right. It's kind of whatever, and now it's for some reason not available to anybody. It was a cool little surprise. I downloaded it and, you know, I liked it. The pixel art is really nice for Kiryu, and especially Nishiki in this, like the little story intro at the beginning. I was like, damn, this looks really nice. I guess download it off Pirate Bay or wherever you could find it if you really want to try it. And the final thing we're going to end up talking about here is the No More Heroes Switch port. I had contemplated maybe doing a separate video on it, but then I felt like, everybody's already doing those, and I really don't feel the need to make any No More Heroes videos until I get into my analysis of Kill the Past and Suda 51 stuff, which I will do at the start of next year, hopefully, if everything goes as planned, but they never do, so who knows when it'll be. I really want to cover all the Suda games before No More Heroes 3 comes out, so so hopefully I will get that done. But I guess I'll just talk about the port here. To do that, I'm going to, of course, have to pretty much spoil the entire game, which sounds kind of redundant because I started the video saying that I was going to go into spoilers. Yeah, I'm just basically going to talk about performance stuff. So there are some really bad pop-ins. I haven't played the Wii version of No More Heroes in probably almost a decade. So I cannot really reference being like, oh, this didn't happen in the original, because for all I know, it did, and I just don't remember it. So the overworld has some really bad texture pop-ins. Shadows often are broken, but, you know, not the end of the world. There's some funny collision bugs with the cars, especially police cars. If you bump into them, they just like half clip into the ground, and then they sometimes fix themselves. But again, that's like a whatever. It's kind of funny, but here's a thing that happens. I know at least one music track is missing from the game due to licensing issues, which sucks. The overworld is probably the area that runs the worst. Most of the game still maintains a solid 1080p 60 FPS, but the overworld probably runs at a consistent eyeball test 40 to 45 frames, which sadly means the Henry fight at the very end of the game does not run that well. I wish it ran better. I was really hoping that they would make the Henry fight just like a solid 60 at all points, but yeah, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. The other fight that runs really bad is the Holly Summers fight on the beach. If you get hit by her missiles, the game tanks to like 10 FPS, but I guess that's avoidable by just not getting hit by her missile attack. If you haven't played No More Heroes yet, these are definitely really solid ports. If you don't want to emulate it, or you don't own a Wii and you don't have any other way to play it, absolutely get these ports. They're worth it. They're not perfect ports. I kind of wish they did some quality of life things, but they're priced well. I got it for $18. It was on sale the day of release. I don't know if it still is at the time of recording, but when it's off sale, they're $20 for No More Heroes 1 and 2 each. I haven't booted up the Switch port of No More Heroes 2 yet, so I can't comment on that one. So maybe I'll bring it up in Backlog Monologue episode 3 if I haven't already started working on the No More Heroes video for the channel, and Backlog Monologue 3 doesn't get pushed back to being like 4 more months or so. If you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thanks for watching as always. I know this is very low effort filler content while I'm working on big videos, so I really appreciate it for those who actually watch this crap. If you noticed that my voice got kind of weird halfway through the video, that's because I kind of hurt my neck, so I have to keep myself in a very specific stiff position so I don't feel neck pain, so that makes my voice very stilted and awkward. If you really like the channel, maybe consider becoming a patron on Patreon. All patrons get access to my videos a day early, and now I'm going to shout out my $5 and up patrons who really help support the channel. Bully, Lucy the Fox, Comrade Fox, Tristan the White Wolf, Slemp Tingle, Matthew Elliott, Dusty the Zombie, Filthy Finger 69, Clivermort, William Moore, Tyler Schertzer, Some Panda, Poke Joke S, Joshua DiLarino, Chichomatrius, Ben Johnson, Sarah Chan, Oods of Nudes, Fish Kami, Joan Eisen, Alejandro Benitez, Star Fox, Flaru, and Mitchell. Thanks so much, guys. Follow me on Twitter to see what is coming up next on the channel, and hopefully soon I'll get the Fatal Frame video done. If you're a card game player of any kind, I have a TCG Player affiliate link in the description below, so any purchases you make using said link gives me a small kickback, so it's an easy way to support the channel. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.